Alright guys, we got possibly the biggest content update for Black Myth Wukong, and my god, it adds so many cool new things. We finally got an endgame Gauntlet with some amazing rewards, new armor sets, a bunch of cool new weapons, and also finally a map mod for all of you out there who were asking for that since day one. So in this video, I'm going to show you what you need to know about them, as well as a build that you might want to try, because yeah, some of these challenges are actually very difficult. Now, the moment you jump into the game, I recommend heading over to any shrine and retrieving your brand new free armor set. This is Chinese New Year themed. So you have the Lion's armor set right here, which looks really awesome. So I went ahead, fully maxed this out to show you all of the stats. Basically, the headpiece gives you a buff when you consume 3 or 4 focus point attacks, so that you're going to get an increase in movement speed as well as a reduction to stamina cost for all actions. Plus, the 2 set bonus will just make your stamina consumption of jumping even lower, and then you're also going to get some firecrackers for the Ring of Fire on the 4 set bonus. They look something like this, by the way. Whenever you cast Ring of Fire, you will get some of these firecrackers. They don't really do any damage. You're just gonna have the default damage from the Ring of Fire, but I think it looks pretty sweet. On top of that, you of course also get a bunch of other bonuses. So for example, the feat will also make jump light attacks to grant you a brief moment of invincibility. Now, the next thing you will want to check out at these shrines are the new Journeyman's charts. These are going to be your brand new maps. So pretty much every time you enter a new chapter, head over to your first shrine and just buy it from over there, or from any other shrine in that chapter for that matter. It only costs about 1,000 or 2,000 will at maximum, but these will unlock that specific chart / map for that chapter. I believe they look really awesome. The artwork and the art style here looks really amazing. Plus, you're finally going to see all of the pathing to each of the regions inside of it, so you can better discover everything in case you missed it. As you discover more of it, you're going to notice new shrines appearing on the map that you can go ahead and just immediately teleport to. But you can also place down markers, I believe up to 5 markers, so that you can quickly mark out any enemies that you have fought or want to fight against, or any treasures that you may have skipped upon. But like I said, we also have an endgame activity, and I'm calling it endgame because I'm not gonna lie, these challenges are brutal. So you're going to find them right here in the new challenges tab. We have Return of Rivals and Gauntlet of Legends. So Return of Rivals is basically a boss replay mode. Pretty much every boss you defeated in the main game will be unlocked right here for you to go ahead and challenge them once again. For those who you have not yet defeated, will appear as question marks until you do. And from here, you can challenge them on 3 levels of difficulty. The first one is very easy. The second one, I would say, is on par with what they used to be in the base game, but there's also a 3rd level of challenge, which is completely relentless. This is going to make bosses have more HP, deal way more damage, and technically also move a lot faster. Like, some of their abilities are definitely not with that amount of downtime that they used to have before. But some of the bosses even get completely new phases and complete new movesets that will just destroy you. I'm not going to lie, you're going to spend a ton of time perfecting your build, perfecting your strategy, and learning all of the moves. In some of these situations, you're not even going to be able to defeat them unless you really get very good at the game. But yeah, you're not going to win anything here. It is a good challenge. It is going to let you test some of your best builds, because the true endgame challenge will be the Gauntlet of Legends. This is also the one that will give you some of these brand new rewards. So in here, we're going to have about like 10 or so new challenges that each put you through a gauntlet of fighting different bosses of a specific theme. So for example, the 3 tigers lets you fight some of the early on tigers from Act 2, but like super buffed. They are very strong. I'm not even gonna lie to you, they are extremely difficult to defeat, but so much worth it, because a lot of these things that you unlock from them are going to be very useful. So let's get started with all of these items. I actually went ahead and split them into different categories, starting with the drinks and the soaks. So we get a new drink, which is the legendary sour wine. This makes each sip to restore 24% of your max HP, and for a short duration increases the stamina cost of all your actions, but enhances the damage dealt by all charged heavy attacks and varied combos. Now, in terms of soaks, we do have a few very strong ones. One is the legendary Robust Antler. When you're low HP, or no HP actually, and you use your Guard, you're going to get a moderate increase in attack for a short duration. Then we have the Frost Enduring Crescent. This makes using wards in low mana to restore a moderate amount of chi, which can definitely be helpful if you're consuming a ton of it. And then finally, there's a new medicine called the Glimmering Scale Palette. After you use this, it considerably increases the damage of all scale-made staff attacks for a relatively long duration. So this, I believe, includes all the long staffs in the game, everything that you got from the yellow long, red long, and so on. There's even a new staff in there that's even stronger than them. Now, in terms of curio items and a bunch of new things, we do have the Stone Tiger Tally, actually from the Tiger Boss Challenge, the first one. After seeing through the enemy, it slightly increases critical hit chance for a brief moment. This effect can stack up to 6 times. So if you pull this off 6 times in a row, it's going to be really crazy. Plus, one of the weapons is going to further buff your damage when you see through enemy attacks. We're going to cover that in just a little bit, but it's, yeah, basically this one right here, a very strong option called the King Mallet. It continuously gains focus for a brief moment after seeing through the enemy. So a further upgrade from one of the early versions of another staff we had before. Another one we get is the Ever-Burning Palace Lantern. In lava terrain or within the Ring of Fire, your light attacks inflict scorch damage. So if you stay within the Ring of Fire, or if you have the upgrade to make it linger when you exit it, whenever you do light combos on enemies, light attacks and whatnot, you're going to see it increasing that scorch meter on them, which eventually will set them on fire. So this can work really well if you're running with a fire set build. There are some blazing karma staffs in the game that will definitely help even more with that. But there's also another staff, pretty much the last one you will get from these challenges, that can help even more if you go with a specific stance for it. Again, more on that in just a little bit. We also have a mythical, very interesting curio item. This one is going to be the Fragment of the Ocean Settling Pillar. So it massively extends the duration of the Great Sage form and further increases attack while in that form. And finally, there's one more item here before the weapons, which is the 3-Hill Crown. It's going to make equipping the Tri-Point Double-Edged Spear to enhance light attack combos. It also has some pretty good defenses and some critical hit chance. Let's get started with the first one, which is the Leeching Centipede Staff. For this, you're going to need to defeat the Shadowy Assembly and then also get the Darkened Eye from it, which you will do once you defeated all the bosses in that challenge. Now, this is a very interesting option. It comes with a very good attack of 130, a critical hit chance of 15%, and it makes all moves that consume focus points to restore a small amount of HP upon hitting the enemy. And if the enemy is under a poison state, the healing effect is massively enhanced. So it's pretty much going to double your healing. I think that you can heal over half of HP, or maybe close to half HP, between a 4 focus point attack and then having this on a poisoned enemy. Now, the downside over here is that with this and the Centipede armor set, you cannot apply poison yourself. You will have to actually have a summon that does that for you. Unfortunately, it doesn't combine some of the other similar Centipede weapons from the past that would apply poison themselves if you yourself were already poisoned, which is unfortunate for such an amazing mythical weapon not to have that baked into it. I would have totally added all of the effects from all the previous Centipede weapons to it to actually make it that much more useful. Now, the next weapon is going to be the King Mallet. This is going to make continuous gains of focus for a brief moment after seeing through the enemy. It comes with 140 attack, which is some of the highest, gives more maximum mana, and basically it's a direct upgrade from the previous, I believe, end of chapter 3 weapon that we had prior to this. So it's basically its upgrade in every single way. And this, again, works really well if you're going with that brand new Tiger Talisman Curio, which is also going to provide you some extra bonus to critical chance. And this can be extremely good if you know how to play and make use of the see-through mechanic, if you know the enemy's attack patterns and can actually unleash your focus attacks as they attack you. You're going to have all of those see-through attacks and basically get all of these bonuses on top. Again, really awesome playstyle like that, but it may be a bit too difficult for some. But the final weapon you're going to get is going to be the Fanged Scion Staff. This is going to be the highest in the game in my opinion. It has only 132 attack, but it comes with a 12% critical hit chance by default. This will require a Heart at Ease, so basically you're going to have to defeat the relic holders the toughest challenge in the actual game and retrieve that heart at ease from them, which yeah, is going to take a while. I'm not gonna lie, this took me days to actually complete, and that is because this is going to provide a different attack depending on the stance. So I'm gonna go ahead and show which one of them it is for every single stance. Starting of course with the smash stance, if you perform a 4 focus point attack, you're going to unleash a frost AoE. Basically, you're going to notice an axe that emerges as soon as you unleash your attack, smashing into the same place and unleashing this wave of frost that deals extra damage. Unfortunately, it doesn't cause any extra freeze buildup. That would have been very nice, but I'm still gonna take that extra damage. Its AoE is rather large and pretty much covers almost the entire boss arena. Even if it's like a large one, it will definitely cover almost all of it, so you're going to hit most of the time with it. The next one is going to be for the thrust stance. In this case, a 4 focus point hit will actually put on a very strong lightning debuff on target. As you may or may not know, lightning is one of the best options if you want to increase your DPS exponentially, because now every hit will be empowered to deal even more damage as long as the enemy is under that electricity effect. And like I said, this is much more noticeable than the normal effect. Works really great if you're going with a lightning build, case in which I recommend going with a long scale battle robe, and all the other remaining parts of the set can help a ton if you want to deal more damage to enemies in a shocked state. And the best part about this is that it's completely instant, so that debuff applies immediately and the enemy immediately becomes shocked, letting you have all of those bonuses to your damage. For the final pillar stance, you're going to get a fire debuff. Basically, when you unleash that 4-point attack, it will immediately set the target on fire, dealing that damage over time. It's probably the most reliable way of setting enemies on fire besides the blazing karma staff. So this is going to have a much higher build-up, which means instantaneous setting on fire. And technically speaking, you can use this with the ever-burning palace lantern to set enemies on fire even easier with your light attacks, not just the 4-point heavy. So all in all, you can definitely create some nice synergies. Now, in terms of the build, here's what we're working with. I went with full-on bulking armor set. This is just going to give you all of the defenses, and because you get high defenses, you can use dark iron staff to further boost your attack. You're going to really want this. Basically, no other option comes close to it, at least not the new game +1. Also went with plantain fan, really helps a lot. That tornado over there just keeps enemies busy, and basically they can't attack during the tornado for pretty much all of them, but wind tamer can also work. I also went with the Apramannia bat summon because it gives me a very good freeze, very reliable and also very strong. In terms of Curio, I went with Celestial Birthstone so that we ignore enemies' resistances, plus a couple of agate jars, further boosting defenses, which also increases our attack. As far as main abilities, besides going with the smash stance, I went with the Ring of Fire, fully on upgraded. We really need that sustain, really helps it on with pretty much everything. So yeah, very helpful over there if you want to face roll enemies, or at least as much as you can, because it's going to be very difficult. Alteration, Cloud Step, very strong. It's just the best option for most of these situations. You can disengage and also follow up with a very strong attack. And finally, the Strand, life-saving Strand from New Game Plus. This, especially with the Cycle Breaker, has a chance to not be consumed. So oftentimes I went full rounds where I got 2 resurrections outright. Very, very helpful. For the drinks, whatever you do, I recommend going with the King Tian Gourd, as this is going to replenish itself. So really get it. You're not going to run out of healing potions as you go through each challenge boss. As you can see, going with some extra mana, extra damage from Cloud Step, and from that point on, anything that you can that gives you an edge. Like I said, this is going to be a very challenging set of boss fights. You're not going to just resort to your gear or anything of sorts. You're going to have to be very good at the game, really learn those attack patterns. That's the only way to succeed. No amount of good gear will help you here if you don't know how to play against those bosses. But that's pretty much it with the video. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time.